Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kufibua, who is the MP for Elembelem. As we speak today, he's not around, and that is why he's asked me to step in. I'm commending the auditors for a good job done. When he took over, these issues that were unraveled by the auditors are the issues that he was confronted with. And so he sought permission from the president and inaugurated a committee to review the small-scale mining licenses. And I'm happy to announce that I was the one that he asked to chair it. And so these issues that the auditors raised surfaced. We have significantly resolved them and will continue to resolve them. Now to your specific issue of a detailed geological investigation that was supposed to be carried out by Minerals Commission before designating small-scale mining areas, some achievement has been made. And even as I speak to you, Gold Ball is advancing funds to Geological Survey Department, Authority, to be able to identify more mineralized areas to resolve this matter further. But as I speak to you, a significant achievement has been made in that respect.
So, out of the 113, how many of these sites have been gazetted, since you said a significant
Indeed,
number
all of them have
been
gazetted. It's fully implemented. If you look at the reports that we have here.
I was expecting you to share it with us because for the public, I don't think most of them will have the reports. So that's why I asked the question, giving you that opportunity to share with us.
Yeah, so, Chair, this is the report that you hold there. And so all those that have been fully implemented have been checked. And so if you go through, you realize that this particular infraction is being checked as fully implemented.
We are also sharing this with the public. That is why I'm asking, if truly it's been done, can you please go ahead and confirm?
Yes, so for instance, we have a community called Accra Town, 0.20 size of land has been geologically identified and worked on, and that is around Wasa East. You have Ajuma DM, which is also 31.24 at Asunafun South. You have Akaso, which is 50.35, Amanse Central, Adanse South, and Obuasi Municipal Assembly. Then you also have Bonfa, which is 22.9 at the Jesu Joabin. And then you have Wumase, which is 40.11, and so on.
Minister, so out of the 113 that they identified, I just want you to confirm that they have been done. You just read out 144.8 out of the 150 that they said they had already done. But I'm asking specifically to the 113.
Chair, my earlier response was that all the 113 had been implemented. I mean, the implementation of that particular infraction was fully adhered to. You requested for perhaps the list, and I've mentioned some here. We may perhaps have to give you that comprehensive list because it's not everything that is captured here. But I think the auditors will.
That is what I'm going to. I'm going to go to the auditors to confirm
we have submitted
whether the 113 sites have been gazetted as you recommended.
Honorable Chair, that has been done. All the 113 have been gazetted. Thank you.
So, Honorable Minister, the next question is, we know the right thing. Why did we not gazette before giving it out? So that if, anything should happen, then it becomes difficult for us to trace and to find out because you don't have the records being gazetted. Why did it happen the way it did? And have you put measures in place to prevent the occurrence of of this infraction that the Auditor General picked up?
It's a very interesting question. Why did that happen? It happened because those who were at the helm of affairs didn't implement the law as it's supposed to be implemented. And that was why those infractions were, those infractions came up. People had concessions when they didn't need it. There's evidence where some people have concessions that they didn't need it. They didn't even know where the land is. And so we have reviewed the small-scale licenses, like I said earlier on, about 1,200, close to 1,300 licenses were revealed. And when we reviewed them, about 907 irregularities or infractions were identified. We further checked and realized that some were administrative in nature. And so those that were administrative in nature, we asked Minerals Commission to resolve them themselves, which they did. But as I speak to you, just last week, about 278 small-scale mining licenses were revoked. They were revoked because we found that a lot of irregularities that you cannot even resolve were the reasons why we have to revoke them. For instance, if you were to go through the process of getting a small-scale license, you go into a software called MCAST, where you put your application. Where you are going to do this mining, the community will have to be involved. And so the officer there will have to write a report. And in that report, the officer is supposed to recommend whether to give that concession or not. We found out that even in so many cases where the officers had said that don't go ahead, these are the reasons why I'm asking you not to go ahead, some officers went ahead and approved and gave out those concessions. We have revoked them, and we challenge them to take us to court. Again, there were instances where a concession is so close to a community. Indeed, if you were to mine, you end up mining within the houses of the people. And so the officers professionally recommended that do not give out these concessions. They were given. And so we have revoked them. In other instances, there's a high tension line running through the concession, and the officer will say that do not approve. These were approved. We have revoked them. There were instances where the chiefs will sit in their palaces, and then somebody will walk to them, and on their face will just fly a certificate. I've received a letter from Minerals Commission to come and mine, when the owners of the land were not consulted. And that's not what the law says. The law says that you must involve them, you must consult them. Now we have received quite a number of petitions from chiefs when we took over, and so those were also investigated, and they were part of those that we revoked. So what we are saying is that we will sanitize the system and let people who really want to mine come and take those concessions in mind. We have evidence where you have people who have come for concessions and now went around looking for people to sell it to. That is not what we are asking for. And so such instances, we have revoked them, and we want those who want to do mining to come, go through the process, get your licenses, and whatever support that the government will give to you to go and do your mining, you do it. People are occupying spaces, and others are looking for spaces to mine, and they're not getting. And those who are occupying those spaces are not miners. So these are some of the challenges that the system brought up, and with the help of the technical people at Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources, Forestry Commission, the committee involved all of them, and so we have come out with, at least for now, 278 that we have revoked. Just yesterday, one of them petitioned that his application should be reconsidered. And so I read it, and what he said was that, yes, at the time that the license was given, the infraction that you raised, indeed, we didn't meet it. But after your revocation, we have now gone to resolve it, so restore us. However, what they forgot is that the process of approval is contingent on that particular item that you didn't satisfy. And so, such a case, we are not going to restore them. We will create that space for Ghanaians who are interested in mining and who are committed in mining to come and take the licenses in mine.
Thank you very much for that elaborate explanation. And I pray and hope I will live by what we say. Minister, I also want to find out from the Minerals Commission what it takes to conduct geological investigations in a particular area and how it is done.
So that would have been a question that would be addressed by the Ghana Geological Survey Authority. It is their mandate to identify these mineralized areas and then pass that information to Minerals Commission. They are supposed to work collaboratively. And so they have the technical know-how, they have the equipment, even though not adequate, and so they are the professionally mandated people who are supposed to go out there and get these mineralized areas identified. And just as I said, the minister spoke to Gold Board, and Gold Board agreed to advance some money and some resources to them so that they can go around to get more places for our young men and women who want to go into mining. I just returned from China a few days ago where I met with a Chinese company. I went with this my colleague friend, and we made a case that we need that particular company support Ghana, and for that matter, support the Ghana Geological Survey Department, authority, to be able to identify many more mineralized areas. It is glad to announce that on the 17th of this month, they will be coming down, and they have made a commitment that they will be supporting Ghana Geological Survey Authority so that they can go out there and get more areas for mining.
Okay. Minister, usually before geological survey comes in, Minerals Commission takes certain processes. So I want to know, how do you choose a place or identify an area for geological investigations, to take place?
There are traditional, some orthodox ways of identifying that there's a mineral deposit here. For instance, the community themselves. You wake up, it's rained heavily, and they are picking particles of stones and suspecting that there's a gold deposit there or any other minerals. That can give you a lead to know that you can investigate this area and see whether there's any mineral deposit. Let's don't also forget that Ghana didn't start today. And so there are some indications of where some mineral deposits are found. And the documents are there. All you need to now do is to pick it and then do proper investigation. And then you'll be able to tell that here you have gold, and beneath the gold, you have copper. There are places where you go and say that you are looking for, you suspect that there's gold. You get the gold, and then beneath the gold, you end up getting a different mineral. The minerals can be on each other in layers. And so there are so many ways you can identify an area and do proper investigation to be able to tell which mineral deposit is there and the quantity or the quantum of mineral deposit in those areas.
So, like you said, by the locals themselves and sometimes based on documentation. Beyond that, how else do we find? And for the Minerals Commission, once they identify these things, what are the steps that they take to sort of establish these?
So what I'm saying is that if I want a place to mine, and I have this basic information that there's some some gold ore deposit here, I put in an application.
The Minerals Commission doesn't come in at all. It's the individual or the person who has found the deposit who takes that initiative. That is what I want to know. So the person who has found the deposit or the person who knows is the one who takes the initiative. Or that's what I want to find out.
We have mineralized areas that have been blocked out. That Minerals Commission is aware of them. So they are blocked out areas. And those blockout areas come up as a result of some investigations that would have been done by the geological survey or private surveyors. And so you have that map. And that is why in some cases, Minerals Commission will say that these areas are blocked out areas for small-scale miners or for cooperative mining. So that is there. And so once this information is available, you can now apply and then choose the particular area that you want. But it's important to also state that those investigations may not be thorough. And so you will need to do further checks before you are able to tell the quantum of mineral deposit.
Minister, the further checks should be done by who, the individual or Minerals Commission?
It is the individual.
It's the individual?
Yes.
I'm asking you all these questions because in my constituency, in one particular town, we have a deposit of some natural resources. That's why I'm asking that if it's a Minerals Commission and then the individual has to write officially to Minerals Commission, we do that. Or if it's the individual who have to take on the cost of finding out what is there, the quantum that is there, then we also know what to do. So that is why I'm asking.
I think it's a mixture of this. I mean, if a whole community decide that they want to know the kind of mineral deposit they have within their area and they apply to Minerals Commission can work with Ghana Geological Survey Authority to establish their expectations or their suspicion or whatever is there. That is different. But if I'm a businessman who wants to invest, I want to get a large-scale mining license, I would have to invest in the geological work so that I'm able to tell that this is the quantum of gold deposit for which I want to invest.
Minister, they tell us that the land is yours, but the natural resource in there is not for you.
I mean, they are not the ones telling you. It is you, the lawmakers. This is a constitutional matter you have raised.
Yes.
The Constitution says that mineral deposits.
So that is why I'm asking you whether the individual on his or her own can undertake all this, or it has to come through the Minerals Commission. Because if the law says that the natural resource in there is not for you, the individual, even though, assuming you own the land, that's why I'm asking, so that my people will hear and then we will know what to do to bring all the stakeholders on board for us to benefit.
Before I allow my technical report to come, I want to understand the question very well. Your area, there's some mineral deposit there, and somebody wants it. The person wants to invest. The person wants a large-scale mining concession in that area. The person suspects that based on some documentation he has seen or the behavior of the community in terms of what they are doing there, that there's some ore in that area. And so he expresses interest. Is it the case that you are saying that you want to find out whether it's the community that will find out and get this deposit for him to come in, or you are saying that as a businessman, Minerals Commission must be the one to help him get the details?
I'm seeking your advice on what to do.
I'll let my acting CEO speak. I mean, I'm sure if you listen to a different voice, you get it.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think you are thinking about or talking about an ideal situation that as a country, we should have gone ahead to drill the country and understand what we have. So we can actually go to the negotiating table with better terms. That is not what we have. What we have is the investor would come in and ask for, so there are stages and various licenses that you need to obtain. You start off with the reconnaissance, which they will give you a very big area. At that point, you don't touch or break the land. You do your geophysics, you pick surface structures, which would indicate wherever the mineral resources is. Then you will come back to the commission. You will shed off the other areas that you don't want. But you still share the data with the commission and geological survey. Then the area that you demarcate, now you come in for the PL, the prospecting license. That is when you can start to pick certain samples. And then forward that you continue to drill, which is the exploration, to establish the ore body, before you would come out to say, this is the reserve that I have, and I need a mining lease to be able to work that. So it's quite an expensive process. So for the large companies, usually like Newmont will say, they just threw in about $1 billion to build a Ahafo North mine. It started about 10 years ago. So luckily, there are some of the areas, these large companies, the type of deposit or the amount of deposit they find in the area is not commercially viable by their scale, but it will be good for small-scale mining. Then we block out those areas quickly for our small-scale mining. So when you come in, there will be some amount of data, but it's not comprehensive. But what we are doing now is we've gone ahead to start some of the drilling, and that is what Minister mentioned, some of the areas. And we have even also gone ahead to release about 20 block-out areas to Gold Board, which they have, given the money is not in yet, but they have assured us the money to be able to drill out those areas. So we can start to build the smaller model mines to be able to take over what is currently happening, which is illegal. So yes, if we had the money as a country, we would have done our own drilling, and the investor comes and we say, we want 70%, come and build the infrastructure and take it. But that's not what we have. So they do all that, and then we take the 10% free stake interest for the nation. But I think we are going past that now. Now, certain laws are helping us, things like the contract mining, which we are using locals to do the mining. Now it's building capacity. And in no time, we should be able to have locals to be able to own mines. And I think it has already started. So we are somewhere, but I think we are going in the right direction.
Thank you, Minister. It's expensive. Very, very expensive. But my community and I will come and see Minerals Commission and Minister yourself to help us go through the process.
I want to find out whether there's illegal mining taking place in your area.
Oh, Galamsey is rife in the Etiwa districts,
Okay.
both the Etiwa East and the Etiwa West. And I'm sure those two districts are not the only districts across the. We just heard of Shidiem and all those things that happened a few days ago. So it is real. But if, like you saying, I was thinking of the ideal situation where Minerals Commission does everything. But in this situation where Minerals Commission does not do the ideal thing that we all think because of lack of funding and a whole lot of other things, it becomes also challenging, very, very challenging, when individuals have to go get to a certain stage before Minerals Commission comes in. It becomes very challenging, and I believe that that is also part of the reason why we see what we are seeing in our mining areas.
Let me put on record that the ideal is not for Minerals Commission to go into geological work. The ideal is for us to provide Ghana Geological Authority enough logistics to be able to map out all the mineral deposits in this country so that we have a comprehensive data of that. And that can be a source of revenue for this country. Now, they can keep it. When there's an investor who wants to go into lithium, he wouldn't go exploring and testing and doing all these things. What he would do is to go to the authority. And then the authority will now provide the data. Based on that, he's able to say that I have chosen this place, I've chosen that place. In fact, it should come at a cost. And then he can now use that to apply and go through the process. Like he said, you go in for a recognizance license, which will take you 1 year, Go and fraternize yourself with the area. Go and know the environment. Don't do any drilling. Don't use any machine there. And then you come back and say that, I've looked at the whole place, it's vast, but I think that I want to zero in into this area. Now you come in for a prospecting license for 3 years. If after 3 years you are not satisfied, you renew it for another 3 years, until about 9 years, by which time you'll be able to get enough data to confirm the fact that there's enough deposit there, and then you now apply for the mining lease itself. Go through the mining lease. When you get it, that's where you now bring in the other agencies. You bring in EPA, you bring in Water Resources Commission, you bring in Forestry Commission, and all those who matter. The District Assembly, the chiefs, all stakeholders are brought on board. Once you do this, the issues of community rising up and fighting miners, large-scale companies, will be a thing of the past. It's because we don't go through the process and go through it very well. But I want to assure you that we are reviewing the large-scale licenses. And again, my able minister has asked me to chair it. Very soon, we will revoke some of those licenses that people have just taken and blocking space and are not allowing people to, those who mean business, to do their business. We will revoke them and then give it to those who want to do business with them.
Thank you very much. Minister, I think I'm satisfied with the information you have provided. The community and myself will come to Lands Commission and Minerals Commission to do the needful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Minister, just a follow-up. So, in your narration, your earlier narration, you mentioned that if somebody is interested in mining in a community, it needs the community's involvement in the approval process. The law that establishes, is it for Minerals Commission or EPA? I just need that clarity. I say this because there's been instances where people want to engage in small-scale mining, or I don't even know if it's galamsey or small-scale mining, would come to a community and claim that they have gotten documentation from the Minerals Commission and any other body involved. Without the community's involvement, they begin mining, and that creates a problem. So I want to understand, you mentioned an officer that needs to approve at the base. Which officer is that? Who is responsible for it? Then also, the bit about the community's involvement. I want to understand what our involvement is in the process.
You are just collaborating what I said earlier on, and that's due diligence and going through the processes hitherto were not done and done well. And so your question is whether or not the community take part in the approval process. The Constitution says that all mineral deposits, are being kept, and put it that way, by the president on behalf of the people. That same law, the Minerals and Mining Act 703, also made provision that in the course of giving out those leases, the community must be involved. And so the District Assembly, for instance, will have to be involved. And the officer responsible for, let's say, the District Minerals Commission officer must also be involved. In some cases, it's region, but they go to the district and involve even the chiefs, the landowners. And so we have what we call gazetting. I guess to a point where you have to gazette, and then you go and paste all the necessary documents of an area that you intend to give out, and to find out whether that land is already being used by somebody and all of that. The truth of the matter is that we hide very relevant information from the people. And so you go and see a notice posted somewhere is diagrams. Excuse me to say, the chief in my community cannot interpret it. It's there for 2 weeks, and then you end up saying that we gazetted, we posted the maps and everything there. We have satisfied the law. we are going ahead. That is not the right thing. It is for you to interpret the maps to them and let them ask you questions. So that if I already have cassava or yam or cashew on that land, I can ask for compensation. Then you give me my compensation and you go ahead. So it is important to state here that stakeholders are supposed to be part of the approval process. That is clear. And so if there's anybody who goes to the community, like I said it earlier on, the chiefs are there, the youth, everybody is sitting there, and then they'll just go and say that we have received a license from Minerals Commission, we are coming to mine. And once they say that they have a document, and once the people know that the deposit there is the president that holds it, and this is an agency that is working for the president, then they slack, and then they go ahead and do their own things. That is even dangerous, if you ask me, than illegal mining. It is dangerous because the community don't see anything wrong with what they are doing. They come in with their heavy equipment, they destroy the environment, they run and left it. They don't reclaim it. If it is a Galamsey person, he's afraid to bring in huge equipment because at any point he could be arrested. So he comes in with small, simple tools. But those who come pretending to have licenses when they don't have it are the ones who destroy the environment and go scot-free.
All right, Honorable Minister. I guess what brought us here is the auditor's report. And let's look at the auditor's report and the questions that auditors raised. And I think by the time we answer these questions, most of the other questions will come through. This auditor report, Auditor General's report was done in 2019. They brought it to Parliament, and Parliament adopted it. Now, these issues, they raised some other issues. They did a follow-up in 2024, and that has brought us here. Now, let's ask these questions.
Chair, respectively, if I may provide some information. Like you said, this is a special report that was done in 2019. And in 2024, there was a follow-up. In that follow-up, and if you look through this document, there's an indication that they were fully implemented. However, they were left with some. So those are the ones that I thought would have been concentrating on, respectively. So there are only two.
Minister, remember I mentioned that overall 86% of the recommendation has been done. But we are speaking to the people of Ghana. Small-scale mining and Galamsey, it's a very sensitive issue. We are happy to have you here with your team. And that is why we are engaging you, so that you take the opportunity to educate us and update us.
I agree perfectly, but I
So
was
that
just
is
saying
why-
that
is
if
why-
we were to
yeah.
go through all the questions that 2019 they raised, then it means that the 2024 review wouldn't
No,
have been
Minister,
relevant.
usually
So
when we say it,
if we
we
can
say,
leave
give us
those
an
questions,
update. So just give us an update.
we are here. Ask any question.
Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Minister. The question I'm asking is, small-scale miners operated without minerals, licenses, and environmental permits. Now, the follow-up said 18 of the 20 small-scale mining companies or groups we visited started operating without licenses or permits. This was because applicants were often not available for the Minerals Commission and EPA to carry out pre-inspection of their sites. The Minerals Commission did not provide applicants with the required information for payment of license fees, and EPA had increased their permit fees, making it difficult for applicants to pay. Also, EPA had limited staff at the mining department to process environmental permits. What is the situation now?
Starting with EPA having limited staff, EPA is going through some recruitment process, even though they are yet to get clearance. They are picking some contract staff, and that I'm aware of, so that they can close up this gap. And anytime the Minister of Finance, and I'm happy that the Deputy Minister of Finance is here, gives them the clearance, then they can do full recruitment to ensure that at least in all the districts where mining takes place, we have staff there. Same with Mineral Commission. Mineral Commission undertook some rigorous investment in infrastructure to ensure that they are able to have presence in all the mining areas. So that is being done, and it's being done with a speed.
Minister, so the 20 small-scale miners who didn't have licenses, what is the update on that one?
Now, it depends. We have to look at them one after the other. There were some that were revoked. In fact, not even revoked. You don't have it. So they were asked to stop their work. And those who came back, in fact, all the 20 were stopped. But some came, renew, or went through the process, and they were given their licenses. And so they are now legally working.
All right, Honorable Minister, if you look at our page 19, okay, you have a summary out there that would tell the small-scale miners operate without license, minerals license, and environmental permits. That's exactly what I'm doing. And the update on it says these some of. Now let's go to C, and Honorable OPK will take care of that one.
Minister, so in the 2019 report, there was an issue where the Minerals Commission and the EPA were not, did not have effective collaboration. However, in the 2024 report that was done, in fact, I must say that the collaboration between the Minerals Commission and the EPA represents one of the best examples of functional interagency cooperation in the management of Ghana's natural resources. But it remains more like a procedural rather than a systemic arrangement, where whatever you have is built on goodwill. It's like the EPA and the Minerals Commission just sat to agree, this is my function, that is my function. So now there seems to be that collaboration. What is lacking is the regulatory protocol that anybody, when he visits EPA or visits Minerals Commission or gets to the website of the ministry, can say that this is how the Minerals Commission and the Environmental Protection Agency collaborates. Can you tell this committee what exactly you've done in documenting this relationship?
Yeah, so work in progress. I think that this era of technology solves some of these problems with ease. Now, Minerals Commission has a platform they call MCAST. This platform is where applicant goes to register, and you go through the steps until you get your license. Now, plans are far advanced to bring on board Minerals Commission on that platform, EPA on that platform. In fact, as we speak, I think Water Resources Commission is already on that platform. So we're going to create a one-stop shop kind of approach where these agencies talk to each other from the very beginning of the applicant's intention to have a license until it ends. So for instance, there's an agreement that if you get a license to go and mine, let's say small scale, you can't go ahead to mine. You have to first go to EPA to get a permit, environmental permit, and then you now bring that environmental permit to Minerals Commission. Then Mineral Commission will inspect it and give you an operation permit. You see, they are talking. So you have to go here, satisfy this condition, come back before you are allowed to go. So that platform is there. What we need to do is to use technology to connect it. And that is why we are saying that with the MCAS platform, the system will talk better. And so that is why we have put in place. And EPA is coming on board very soon.
So thank you very much. I mean, I appreciate the introduction of digitalization, you digitalizing the entire system and having MCAS and ensuring that, I mean, this sensitive national issue is more digitized, and it's important that we establish that collaboration. So thank you for talking about how you want to digitize the entire process and ensure collaboration between EPA and Minerals Commission. However, you've not talked about the law. I want to see, is there a regulatory framework that is there? Are you considering coming to Parliament to establish a law that creates that collaboration? It looks only procedural. It looks like this is what we ought to do to protect a certain system, but there's no law that is backing it, and that is what we need.
I think there already exists a law. And so what we are doing is just to implement the requirements of the law. But when it comes to the mining sector, it's one of the areas that is highly regulated. Our challenge is our ability to implement the laws. And it takes us, the politicians, to ensure that these laws work. I can tell you that it's sad that sometimes we even put pressure on technical people, and they do things that ordinarily they wouldn't have done. When we're reviewing these small-scale licenses, after everything, I asked Mineral Commission officers, can you challenge these irregularities that we have found? They said, you are right, it's true. Those are the issues that we are talking about. We should stop pretending. And once we stop pretending, OPK, Ghana will work.
Thank you very much for referring to OPK. But, Minister, this collaboration between MC and EPA, is it at the top level? Is it just sitting in Accra, or it transcends down to the base? Because I know that when you get to the assembly, there's an officer that handles issues of the EPA, and there's also a separate officer that handles issues of the Minerals Commission. And I want to find out the collaboration that you talk about. Is this something that is just between Yusuf and the Ministry of Environment or the person responsible for EPA, or it transcends down to the base, the local level?
I said to you that the laws are there. Now, at the local level, we're supposed to have committees. And these committees are the committees that are supposed to ensure that all these things work together. And the composition of the committee brings on board the EPA, the District Assembly, the Forestry Commission, the chiefs. In fact, it is chaired by the DCE. And so all these things are in place. And it is this law that has brought all those things to be in place. And so it's just for us to implement them. And once we implement them, we don't have a problem.
Thank you very much. My final comment on this. Can you, as a ministry, Minerals Commission, EPA, publish for the consumption of this country mining firms whose licenses have been revoked? We need to know. We want that publication done.
I think last week, those that we revoked, if you check in the dailies, I'm not very sure, but on our website and on other platforms, we published all of them, 278 of them. I can send a soft copy of those ones to you so that you can share to your other friends so that you go far. And I'm saying that sooner or later, large-scale companies, those who have gone to take lands, they've gotten the, what is it called, licenses, and they're now going around, running around to get people to come and invest. When people are holding resources and they want to go and do business, they're not getting space. We'll revoke them.
Thank you very much for publishing the over 270-something revoked licenses. But how many have you granted in the last 8 months?
Yeah, so when you inherit a rot system like this, you don't rush to do, to repeat the same wrongdoings. So what we are saying is that between 2017 to 2024, we relaxed in ensuring that our laws work. And so what you need to do is to clean the house first. And that's the house cleaning we are doing. We have been transparent. When we got all these irregularities, like I said, we send them back to Minerals Commission. Minerals Commission, if there are administrative issues, if there are issues that emanated from your side, let's correct them so that we don't punish the innocent businessman. At the end of the day, we sorted out all those issues, and that is why we are revoking these ones and we are publishing it. So for us, I can tell you, help us, we'll sanitize the system. Those big ones will fall. And what we inherited, we'll all work together to make it a better thing.
Minister, you see, I like your commentary, I like your energy and all of that, but you seem to be doing, how many of the licenses have you given out? 0, 10, 20, 100. We want to know.
So when it comes to small-scale licenses, I cannot, as I sit here, give you any figure. I cannot give you any figure.
Minister, thank you very much. Thank you for admitting that you cannot give me the figure. Minerals Commission boss, please, I'm putting it to you. How many of these licenses have you given out from January to November as we sit?
Chairman, I just confirmed with my CEO and our, we swore an oath, right? And we are serious and patriotic citizens sitting here. We will not want to give you any information that will contradict what we have in our data. And so if you want us to give you accurate information, give us by close of day. We will print it out and come and give it to you today. But we don't have it here and we're not guests. Yes. Don't give them. Don't give them.
So Minister,
yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are going to give you the whole day. If you want the whole week, we want this information out there. That
thank you. We'll bring it.
Aside everything that you talk about, correcting the rot, everything that you talk about,
we'll put it on our letterhead and bring it.
We'll be very grateful. But at the beginning of this administration, Minister, do I go ahead? No, that is it.
OPK, but just to put on record.
Yes.
I told my acting CEO that we should not conjecture any figure. You know why? After the December general election, you are asking about the number of lances that we have given in this year. Is that not the case? After the elections, immediately after the elections, just 4 days for the new president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to be sworn in, 55 licenses were signed. So if we are talking about new ones that were signed, we can begin from there. That at least 55 were signed. We'll go and add whatever that we have added and bring it to you.
Minister, see, I appreciate that. Minister, I appreciate that. But you see, Minister, you talked about the MCAS system. You talked about how the whole small-scale mining system is now digitized, and you get to know. We know that at the end of every month, with a click of a button, your agency, Minerals Commission, gets to know the number of licenses he has issued. And so what is the big deal in telling us that as at the month of October, at the month of September, at the month of August?
Come on, I thought you agreed
But
that...
the interesting thing is that you remember the licenses that were issued 4 days to the expiration of the previous government.
Yes, in a
But
rush.
you don't remember the number of licenses you have issued.
You are pushing me. You
it
push
shows
me.
a certain...
You push me
I never pushed you.
to tell you
I'm
what
here
I know.
to ask the questions. That is my role as a member of parliament and also the vice chair on this committee.
Yeah, so the 55.
Honorable member,
the
if
55
I'm going to be the chairman of this place, let me be the chairman. The minister said we need to give him up to this evening, right? He will get us the numbers. What is the big deal about it?
Nobody has disputed
Don't
that.
let us play politics with
I
it.
have not disputed that. I'm just
Let's
asking
give
my
him the
questions.
chance. Let's give him the chance to bring the numbers, and then we can play with it. Let's move on. The next one is by Honorable Frank Yeboah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minister. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Minister, in 2019, when the auditors came to do the audit at Minerals Commission, one of the things they found was that Minerals Commission was issuing operating permits without plans from small-scale miners. But in 2024, when they came back to do a follow-up, that has been corrected significantly. So looking at how sensitive small-scale mining and its related names are to Ghanaians, I just want to, since we have Minerals Commission CEO here, I want him to take the opportunity to explain to Ghanaians, in summary, how one can obtain, the process one has to go through in obtaining an operating permit to do small-scale mining in the country. Thank you.
I mean, are you asking of a license or operating permit? The two are not the same.
Okay, my question is on operating permit.
Operating permit.
Yes. And if it's, you have to get a license before operating permit, that's why.
Yes,
we
so
need
like
that
I said,
education.
you need to get a license. And when you get a license, you now go to EPA for EPA permit. When you get the EPA permit, you attach it to your license and come back to Minerals Commission. And when you come to Minerals Commission, the Inspectorate Division, headed by the Chief Inspector of Mines, will now assess it and give you an operating permit. It is only when you get this operating permit that you can now go and start work. But even that, when it comes to large scale, given the ruling of the Ezrin Quebec, if you don't ratify, you still don't have the right to operate. It's just that we are a bit considerate. But I think that we'll get there where we'll have to ensure that you ratify before you can even go and start operations.
Okay, thank you, Minister. My last one. Per what you just said, I just want you to walk us through. If my uncle lives in my village in the Ashanti region called Daba, wants to enter into a small-scale mining industry, the small-scale mining industry, what's the process he has to go through before he can do the small-scale mining legally?
I thought that this was answered when, anyway, I'll let a technical person answer it. He is in charge of small-scale mining. So take us through the process. If somebody wants to get a license to operate in the small scale arena, what do you have to do?
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, if you want to obtain license to operate small-scale mining, first of all, you have to conduct a search to ensure that the place you are interested is within a block-out area. So you conduct a search in Minerals Commission, and if you found the area to be in a block-out area and the area is free, that is why we advise you to put in application. Now you have online applications. That is what we are talking about, the MCAST. So if you put in applications, then you have to go to the field and then put the pillars, the coordinate of your area of interest. Then the district officer will inspect whether that place is conducive for mining. And the coordinates actually reflect what is on the ground. After that, you cause a gazette to be done. That is where you inform the chiefs and all the other people. And if everything is done within 21 days, there is no objection to that application, they will go ahead to process the applications. And then we make a recommendation to the minister. That is, if everything is satisfied, you make a recommendation to the minister. And if the minister approves the recommendations, that is why we allow you to pay the annual mineral right fee, you pay the ground rent, and you sign the agreement with government of Ghana. And the minister will sign on behalf of the government of Ghana, and the entity will sign,
So
and that becomes a
you
license.
don't sign with the community, but with government of Ghana.
When the gazette is done,
Yes.
that is where you're supposed to consult the community.
I'm talking about the signatory.
It's for the minister. By law, it's only the
Oh,
minister
so
who
the
can
community
grant.
doesn't come in at all.
They come in a different way, but not in signing.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So you, the applicant, yes, you, the applicant, has to see the community because they have the surface right. So as a result of that, they will grant you that right. They will.
I understand that part, but I was thinking, the final signatory.
The
It's
final
not between the
signatory-
community, but rather the government of Ghana.
The government of
which
Ghana.
the minister does on behalf of the government of
Exactly.
Ghana. And, oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then that is the mining license. After that, as the honorable minister has said, then we advise you to obtain environmental permit from EPA. After the environmental permit, you have to bring that one down to Minerals Commission again, to the Yeah, if you are going to use natural water, you have to go to Water Resource Commission for water use permit. And then you bring all those things to Inspectorate Division of Minerals Commission for operating permits. And that is the final permit that will be given to you to actually undertake whatever operations you want to do. That is why you call it digging permit. That is what allows you to dig the land. So basically, that is how it is done.
Thank you very much, very much.
Summarize it, and if we want details, we'll have to ask for it. Like you said, he should give a summary, because some of the issues we are addressing here, he hasn't mentioned some of them. Because, for instance, the plan of the, what is it called? The miner will have to bring his plan. It's part of the process. And all those who culminate into giving him the license or giving him the right to operate. So I would advise that people who want to do mining and they want small-scale mining, go onto our website, the Minerals Commission's website. All the details are there for small scale. Now, if you want a large scale, they are also there. The two are not the same. If we don't clarify it, somebody will listen to us here and go and get his few documents and say that he wants a large scale. You will get to a point and get fed up and then stop. I will plead with Ghanaians who want to do mining, go onto our website. The information is there. We also have desk officers at our various offices. If you go and inquire from them, they'll give you the right information. Thank you.
Minister, thank you very much for the intervention again. You mentioned you talked about block area. Is it a free area in layman's understanding? What's block area? Is it a free area in layman's understanding?
No, these are designated areas. You know, we spoke about the role of geological survey and the fact that they're able to get mineralized areas. Then you block that area. And when you block that area, it is an area that you intend to give to, let's say, small-scale miners. And let me also put on record that small-scale mining is the preserve of only Ghanaians. So if you are not a Ghanaian, you cannot own a small-scale mining license. However, or unfortunately, you go and see somebody with a small-scale mining license, and the whole place is white people who are mining there. Because he had gone into some arrangement with them. He may not even be there. He's not on site. He's sitting somewhere. He has more or less sold the thing to them. And even when you inquire further, the people who are working there, I don't want to mention any specific countries' people, you asked whether they have work permit. The answer is nil. But who has brought them there? The Ghanaian. So if we ask that this should be for us, it should be our preserve, we take it, and this is the way you want to do it. How are we helping ourselves?
Mr. Chairman, this is my last one. You mentioned the fact that the applicant will have to see the community. Can you throw more light on that? Is it the best way? And how is this seeing the community mean? What's the meaning of that? I know you're going to engage them.
Okay, so for instance, I want to take a small-scale mining concession from Etiwa. Now, I've done a search. I've identified a place in that area that this place is about 25 or 30 acres of land. And that is for small scale. Small scale is around 25 acres. We must also say this. Now, I identified the place. I can go and take the coordinates of that particular place. Then I do a search. A search means that write to Minerals Commission that you have identified this place and you intend to apply for a license to do mining in that area, small scale. Within the shortest possible time, Minerals Commission will respond and say that, yes, that place is vacant. When you get this report, you now go into our system, the MCAST, and that's where you now place your application. When you place your application, there's an officer at the district. You need to bring him on board. The officer working with you and the district assembly will now begin the process of identifying stakeholders. Now, these stakeholders, you're supposed to engage them. For instance, the chief of Etiwa. You can go to him.
There's no chief of Etiwa. So maybe you mentioned the town, the chief of Enyinem.
The chief
Etiwa is a district. Yes.
Okay, it depends on the area.
Or the chief of Tinga, your place.
A very handsome, powerful chief, Tingaura. If he's listening to me, Chief Metro. So you involve them, and then let them know that this is your interest. You all agree that, oh, you can come and do it. The assembly is involved. The assemblyman in that area is involved. The chief is involved. In some cases, the chief may not even be the landowner. So you ensure that the landowner is involved. When you agree, the officer at that level will now have to write a report of the suitability of the place and also the fact that you have engaged the stakeholders. Based on that, he will now recommend that you should be given the lease. Then you take it from there. All the necessary payments that you are supposed to make, you pay them online. Is that not the case? You pay them online until you get to a point where the CEO of Minerals Commission will now recommend to the minister that Yusuf Suleimana, who is taking the concession from Etiwa area, has met all the requirements. And so we are recommending to you for your approval. Then the minister will interrogate it. He can call for the file and satisfy himself, and then also sign. Then it gets back to Minerals Commission again. And then they engage Yusuf Suleimana again. Your application has been approved. These are the things that you're supposed to meet, and these are the conditions of the agreement. Are you ready to have a reclamation bond? You have to go and discuss this with the EPA. And that's one of the issues that we have not looked at. And then we go through all this process, and then you can now have your license to go and mine. Now, if you don't involve the community, and then you go get your license and get back to them, that's where you begin to have some challenges. So I advise that we involve the communities. And I also advise the communities that when people come to you.
Honorable Minister, I'm sorry. We have about 13 more questions to ask you. So when we ask the rest of the questions, maybe it will help you.
Chair, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I'm done. Thank you, Minister, and Mr. Chairman, I'm done.
All right. The next question is by Honorable Enim Enes, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So this issue had to do with prospective small-scale miners not posting reclamation bonds. And I think that, Minister, you had spoken to it in your last statement. I just want to understand, because when you look at all the issues, I can see that with implementation, you have been able to do a lot. But on this particular issue, I see here that it's partially implemented. I want to understand what are the challenges EPA has with this particular issue. If you can throw more light into it, then we can go to the next question.
So a reclamation bond is a bond that gives an assurance that the degraded area, as a result of your activities, will be reclaimed. And if it is not reclaimed, this amount of money that you would have used as a guarantee will be used to reclaim the place. And this is sitting with EPA. Thank God we have EPA rep here, so I can speak to it. So there are issues of budgeting. EPA must be able to tell approximately how much it will take for the reclamation to be done, even before the mining starts. Now, it is possible for some figures to be estimated, and then at the end of the day, that figure will not be enough to reclaim the land. So some kind of thinking will have to go into it. But the question here is that under this particular arrangement, many of them did not even put in reclamation bond. As I speak to you, we are now insisting that they put in reclamation bonds.
So, Minister, over here, I just want to understand something. Do we lack capacity in the assessment of the costs? Or what is it? Because if EPA is not able to estimate correctly how much it will cost us to reclaim a portion of parcel given to a particular small-scale miner, then it means that there is some bit of capacity issues. Because
I have to reframe my comment or my. It's not the case that anytime you do estimate, you get it right. It's not the case. So largely, it's because they were not placing these bonds. And that was the issue that was raised. And we are saying that now there's some improvement in that respect. If you look at the 2024 submission.
Yeah, I can see you are partially working on this particular issue. But then, with the issue of Galamsey we have in this country, I believe that if EPA is able to do this important assignment of getting the estimates, at least even 80%, 90%, we won't have all these degradation of the environment, because if we have these bonds secured for reclamation of these lands, I do not think we would have issues, because even when the small-scale miner runs away, we have enough in the bond to take care of the land. So that is an area I feel that we should do more. If EPA should start acting we won't be talking about Galamsey because we have enough security to take care of the damage that the small scale will leave for us. So I think EPA should do more. And Minister, let me bring in this one, then you can just answer, then we can move on. Do you think we need reforms to the bond system so that it will make it easy for these small-scale miners to comply? Because if there are reforms such that a small-scale miner, based on its capacity, is able to pay, then we shouldn't have a problem. So tell us if there are any reforms you think can help make compliance easier for small-scale miners. Then we won't have this issue of Galamsey lingering around and people, communities complaining and all that.
Chairman, sometimes I get confused when some of these issues are raised. Galamsey, small-scale mining, and all of that. And we said here that there are people who hold certificates and pretend to have it from Minerals Commission, but they haven't gone through the process. We classify them as illegal miners. And so these are some of the people who will not even have time to go to EPA to go and put their bond there. So the challenge starts with how they acquire the lands. That's one set. Another set is those who will not even come to Mineral Commission. They won't go anywhere. They just take their equipment, arrange with some landowners, and then they start. That is pure Galamsey scenario. And these are criminals. And if the law works, we must deal with them. But we need now to bring them on board and see how we can license them and move on. That's the way to go.
All right, Honorable Minister, we go to the next one. Is Honorable Cletus will ask that question, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Minister, this report or infraction, it has to do with the capacity of your district officers. It was detected that your officers do not have the capacity to prepare plans for monitoring with regards to environmental risks. Can you talk to this?
Yeah, so that was a legitimate issue that was raised, and it's been addressed, and we continue to improve upon it.
Address it, Minister.
Of course, so addressing it means that getting the requisite expertise and people with the necessary backgrounds to handle the specific areas that we want them to handle. And so we are now taking more geologists, we are taking more engineers, and we are also giving them in-house training.
Thank you, Minister.
All right, the next one is by Honorable Nasser. It's 2G.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Minister, this next infraction is about inadequate strategies to address structural, human resources, and logistics gaps to enhance monitoring. I'm very particular about the minimization of environmental degradation. So it said that the district mining committees were either not in place or inaugurated. Please, may I know how far you've gone with this?
Yeah, so by the close of 2024, all the district management committees were inaugurated and they were functional.
I think the auditors. Well, it's conflicting to what the auditors have written here. Auditors, please can you confirm to what the minister is saying?
Honorable Chair, when you look at what we have indicated in the report, we are saying that 20 out of 24 district mining committees at the 3 mining areas we visited were not functional. 3 out of the 5 DMCs in Takwa were not functional, while 10 out of the 11 DMCs in Obuasi were not functional. At Akemoda, 7 out of 8 DMCs were also not functional. And the DMCs in the 3 mining areas, as we have them in the appendix. Officials of the Minerals Commission indicated that the 20 DMCs were not functional because the district assemblies did not have the resources to fund the committee's operations. So yes, they have been inaugurated, but we're looking at how functional they are.
Yeah, so the functionality of the district management committees is a joint responsibility between Minerals Commission and the district assemblies. Now, at the end of 2024, they were all inaugurated. As to their functionality, it will be difficult for me to speak to it. But what I do know is that their tenure expired. And so we are now going through a process of getting new ones starting from this year.
Minister, 10 months, mining is going on. District mining committees have not been set up. And it's a topical issue now. And you've not set up these committees.
You mean
I'm very particular about environmental degradation, Minister.
Are you saying that not setting them up is a topical issue? Or what is topical here?
Minister, you are here to answer questions from the committee, not to ask me a
But
question.
I asked for clarification.
No. Chairman, you are here to answer questions from me as a member of the committee.
Perfect.
But not for you to ask me a question.
My brother, I've been here, and you can ask a question for clarification.
What is topical is mining.
Exactly.
What is topical is mining.
Yes.
And we need these committees.
Yes, so what we are saying is that by close of 2024, all of them had expired. Now, some also expired this year around June, okay? But like I said earlier, we have put in place a system, and some of them, as I speak to you, we are just about, integrating them. Don't forget that these are chaired by the DCs. It took time for DCs to be brought on board and many other things. Now, in place of your concern, your concern is that once they were not there, environmental degradation was taking place. Minerals Commission and EPA were strengthened to ensure that there was effective monitoring. And the Inspectorate Division was asked to take up some of these responsibilities whilst we put in place the committees. So it was not as if we went to sleep and left it like that. We had put in place a stop measure to ensure that our eyes were on the cake.
Minister, I think the good people of Ghana would like to know some timelines from you. With the speed with which you revoke licenses, I think you should use the same speed to inaugurate and make sure that these committees are functional. So we need some timelines, please.
I'm happy you are concerned about this, and we can assure you that within the first quarter of next year, we would have put all this in place. But I'm telling you that in place of these management committees, we have put in place a system. And that system is working. Whilst we try to get these committees back, we were swift in canceling those small-scale mining licenses because there was some wrongdoing, and we thought that we should do the right thing.
He's answered your question, right?
Yes, please, I'm done.
Okay. The next one is Honorable Kinney, and it's on paragraph 2H.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, this has to do with strategies to address human resource and facility gaps within EPA not fully being implemented as at then. Districts and area offices of EPA did not have enough staff as well as office accommodation to carry out their operations. The agency was yet to complete its staff establishment to enable it recruit new staff. How far have you gone about this? Thank you.
I think I in my earlier submission, I answered it. I said EPA was recruiting some temporary staff and training them to go and take up these places. And that was when I referred to the deputy minister, who is my in-law, that he should do well and give us clearance so that they can get more permanent staff.
The Honorable Minister, how far has this improved on your operations?
Yes, obviously, if we're able to get all our offices equipped with the necessary human as well as logistical resources, we will be able to effectively manage some of these issues. So we are thinking that from now up to the first quarter of next year, we should be able to fully implement this, because then we'll have officers in all the districts to help us in this respect.
I wish you well and thank you very much.
I'm grateful.
The next one is Honorable Adam Agbana.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, the issues identified includes the fact that small-scale miners were not well educated on compliance with sound environmental management. This report is for 2019. Since your entry into the ministry, can you brief the committee on what the ministry is doing to ensure that small-scale miners are given proper training by both the EPA and the Minerals Commission on sound environmental management?
Yes, so what I know is that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, using Minerals Commission, working with EPA, over the period organize some programs, training programs for small-scale miners. And we are also utilizing the Ghana Association of Small-Scale Group. They have very good leadership, and this leadership have taken their time to learn and to understand the environment very well. As I speak to you, just 3-4 days ago, I got a call from them that they were in Kumasi and providing some training and some support to small-scale miners. I think last week or so, they were in Bole area and they went to Upper West. So some serious education is taking place.
Mr. Chairman, just as a way of recommendation, just as it is with, say, the DVLA, where if you are a driver, before you acquire your license, you must demonstrate knowledge, enough knowledge of the field. Shouldn't that process of education be tied to the license acquisition process?
Honorable, a very laudable suggestion, but the two are not the same. You have a situation where young men and women wake up early morning and they are in the bush mining. And it's been difficult to control them. And you're talking about huge numbers. So for me, we should go to them, sit with them, take them through the process. But even as we take them through the process and license them, we must self-provide them with education continuously. So the process must start from the very beginning when they are looking for the licenses, and it should continue because the whole environment is so dynamic. For instance, at a point, they were allowing people to use mercury. Now we don't allow people to use mercury. So there are new technologies. You have to teach them those new technologies. So your advice Well noted.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much for coming to Public Accounts Committee. You are discharged.
Chairman, I'm grateful. Thank you.
I, Thomas Sampson,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Please introduce yourself to the committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Thomas Sampson, the Deputy Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Richard Chunebo Akodua. I'm the Director for Research, National Development Planning Commission.
Thank you. My name is Jemila Tusoyi Niseidu, Senior Internal Auditor, National Development Planning Commission.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Tufo, NDPC Head of Accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michelle Fafa Agbenoto, Senior Information Officer and Head of Public Relations, NDPC.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman. My name is Nana Jumo Bene, CEO of Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Reginald Okai. I'm the Chief Finance Officer for Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jaban Ane, Head of Internal Audit, MPRA.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Chris Buedi Mensah, CEO, MPRA.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. My name is Anthony Akwa, Director, Standards and Compliance, NPRA.
Okay. We'll be looking at your financial, that's National Pensions Regulatory Authority. You are here, right? Okay. We'll be looking at your financials, and Honorable Enim will start with that one.
Thank you, Chairman. MPRA, so we'll be considering your financial performance and financial position. For your financial performance, your bottom line improved from a surplus position of 25 million to 30 million in 2023. But I just want us to go through a few of the expenditure lines where I feel you had gone over a certain threshold here, because I'm looking at the increases you made in your revenue. And if you made a positive change of almost 34%, but then on your expenditure lines, you went over 91 and 40% and 37.3%. I want to understand.
Mr. Chairman, can you respectfully direct us to the paragraph you are?
So this is 1021 to 1029. Minister, are you there?
Not yet, but you can proceed.
Okay, so I just want to understand your goods and services. It went up by almost 40% from between 2022 and 2023. And then your other expenses, can you tell us what constitutes your other expenses? Since we don't really have a separate lines for the different expenditure items. So I'm looking at the two things, goods and services. Then on other expenses, what constitute your other expenses and why it went up by 92%?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the goods and services, it was due to the expansions of our offices across the country. So opening other two zonal offices and also increase the capacity of the staff in other zonal offices. So that led to the goods and services increase.
And what about the other expenses? What expenditure lines come under other expenses?
So, Mr. Chairman, the other expenses, it has to do with the renovation of some of our existing offices across the zonal offices and other expenditures that did not fall into goods services.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So we move to your financial position. I think for between 2022 2023, you improved on your current ratio, which is a good sign here, and the changes aren't so drastic or huge. So, Mr. Chair, I think we can move on.
All right, thank you. Now let's go to the management issue, and Honorable Akwesi Kwenedo will handle that one, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, this has to do with the delay in collection of fees, and there seems to be an impasse between NPRA and SNET as to how much SNET should be paying NPRA for the administrative expenses. If you look at Act 1080, that gives you the mandate to collect those fees. It is about 2.5 of the previous year's administrative fees that they ought to give to you. I think in your response, you said negotiations between yourself and SNET was that SNET proposed to pay 1 million Ghana cedis for that, and that you found very inadequate for you to carry out your mandate. And you made a counter proposal of 5 million Ghana cedis. And you said SNET was considering that, and you left it at the table of the Minister for Labor Relations. What is the status of this relationship between the two of you? Because you are supposed to receive about 18 million per the auditor's observation. What is the status of it now? And whilst at that, to be helpful for us to appreciate and understand, if you can tell us the mandate for which you seek that amount of money to do, and why the counter proposal of 5 million, not the 1 million, so that when we have something better to add on to PUSNET, then we can. So your mandate and why that impasse is still existing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I will speak briefly about it and will defer to the CEO for NPRA to also add some if he so wishes. This issue has been a long-standing issue between the NPRA and SNET. And over the years, SNET has refused to make payments to NPRA. This year, the issue was brought to our attention, and so I had a meeting between the Director MD for SNET and the CEO of MPRA, and we had some resolution. SNIT over the years has maintained that unlike the Tier 2 and Tier 3 pension funds that are licensed by MPRA, SNIT is a legal creation. And so they felt that they did not have to pay the fees to MPRA. But MPRA has been providing services regulating the entire pension architecture. And so we had a fruitful meeting, and even though SNIT maintained that the 2.5% of their previous year's administrative expense is quite high, they are willing to pay something. So we have agreed, and this year SNIT has made 2 payments, first quarter, second quarter payments to MPRA. And so there is some kind of resolution so far, even though they are not getting the full amount that they would have loved to get, the 2.5 that amounts to the 18 million plus that you are talking about. But we have some kind of understanding. I think in the first quarter they paid 1.7 million. They've paid another 1.7 million in the second quarter. They'll continue to make those payments. So that is the progress we have made so far. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So now there seems to be a settled understanding of about paying quarterly. So that means you are going to have 4 tranches in the year of about 1.7 million. And having that amicable solution to it, won't that go against the law that we set by our own self, that the Act 1080? Because it would obviously go against that. You cannot bypass the law and have an agreement that is not in the law. Rather, you ought to therefore come for us to revise the law and probably put it where SNIT and the whole arrangement between yourself and Labor would agree, Ministry of Labor Relations would agree to it, so that it will not continuously be flagged. Because once you do 1.7 by 4, you are probably going to do just about below the 2.5, and they will continuously flag that. So what will be the solution that you proffer so that we can help you resolve this matter permanently?
Mr. Chairman, that is right. That is what we intend to do. But we had to build on what had been done in previous years. Because when we came, SNIT had offered to pay MPRA 1 million cedis, and MPRA rejected that amount. And so we had to follow up with those negotiations, and then we arrived at the 1.7 million a quarter times 4. And so it is an improvement over what has been done. But as you said, we need to interpret the law rightly, and if we feel that since SNIT is established by a legal creation, and MPRA does not necessarily license them, if they actually have to pay the full amount or if there has to be some waivers, that is something we will have to resolve eventually. But we had to build on the negotiation that was inconclusive last year to agree on an amount that will allow MPRA to operate while we look for a lasting solution to the misunderstanding. Thank you.
Auditors, can you please confirm such an arrangement being done, although it's outside the law, and these 2 payments being made currently?
Honorable Chair, we would be grateful if they can furnish us with that information, because per the last follow-up we did, we were given the information that the matter has been referred to the legal directorate of the authority to handle. So if there have been any further developments apart from this, we'll be happy to have the information. Thank you.
Okay, Minister, let's try and finish the auditors, but let us set it on record that up until we are able to either repeal the portion of this act, that is the 2.5, all the negotiations we are having is outside the law, and that is not right. We ought to be within the law up until we are able to set it aside. Because once we start negotiating outside the law, it will give an opportunity for others also to be playing the same line, which will not be beneficial for us. So we must be guided by some of these things whilst we go into negotiations of such nature. Thank you.
I totally agree.
Minister, is this part of the Fees and Charges Act?
It is, Chairman.
And thankfully, you are reviewing the Fees and Charges Act. So maybe you should take the opportunity to fix it and make things right. You go through the process that we usually go through, and then you amend the fees and charges so that you know that you are not doing anything outside the law, but in the law. I know we were told that once we resume, we're going to lay the Fees and Charges Act. But I know it's not late, so you can still effect any changes that you want to. So,
Madam Chair, that is actually our plan, and we are working with the subsidiary legislation to do this. Thank you.
that notwithstanding, NPRA, SNET will still have to. Who pays who? SNET pays NPRA.
SNET
will still have to do the needful. And so, and something that can also enable NPRA carry out its mandate, because it also needs some level of revenue to enable it to carry out its mandate. So as for SNET paying something, yes, but it should be commensurate with the kind of activities that NPRA takes. That will not also jeopardize the payment of SNET contributions to beneficiaries. So we should look at that. Is NDPC here, please? Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair.
This relates to your financials. But before I go to your financials, share with us your current strategy and what you are doing to help the current government in place to fulfill its mandate in terms of the economic planning issues. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. So the National Development Planning Commission is mandated to advise the President on medium to long-term development strategy and planning. So on 4-year arrangements, we prepare medium-term. The last one that was done was for 2022 up to 2025, which ends end of this year. So the Commission has put in place a new medium-term policy framework, which from last year through this year, 2025, has been shared with all the decentralized planning agencies. So the MDAs, the MMDAs, and the regions are preparing their development plans in line with this. We've also ensured that the new government development priorities are in line, so that from 2026 to 2029, we will be implementing these programs in alignment with the government priorities. So this has been done. We normally also add the planning guidelines. And I think for this planning arrangement, we have insisted with collaboration with Ministry of Finance and also Parliament that if plans are not prepared, the necessary budgetary allocations will not be made. And we are not just looking at having the plans prepared, but also certified, so that through the certification process, we will ensure a strong and effective alignment between what the planning authorities will be doing and what as a nation we also need to do. And that is what we are doing this year. Thank you.
And Minister, I will want to use this opportunity to thank the Economic Committee of Parliament for the role they have played in ensuring that all covered entities submit their plans to NDPC. They made a profound statement that if you don't have a plan and you bring your budget here, Parliament will not approve your budget. And so when we were having budget hearings, we ensured that all the covered entities present their plans. We even withheld their third quarter allotments, that until you submit your plan for it to be certified by NDPC, you will not get releases, because the budget must emanate from the plan. If you don't have a plan, on what basis what are you annualizing? And so far the collaboration is working, and I can say that for the first time we have all covered entities rushing to NDPC. And NDPC have also been very, very supportive. I was told that they were working 24/7 to make sure that they work on the plans and submit same to us. And so that progress is being done. Since we are here on NDPC, I think it is important that we talk about the recent infrastructure plan that the NDPC launched. If you have an opportunity to see the plan, you are going to ask him. Okay, let me allow him to speak.
That's why I asked that they share with us.
Thank you. So let's allow them to.
But Minister, you can brief us. It's fine.
Oh, no, it's a wonderful plan.
Yes.
And I think it is the way to go. That as a country, we need to have a plan that we work with so that we stop the knee-jerk reaction to implementation of our infrastructure needs. And President Mahama made a profound statement that we need a plan that will live beyond a political party. That is how to develop a country. Thank you.
So NDPC, I was going to ask you about the infrastructure plan and ask you whether we can put some measures in place to make sure that it is an infrastructure plan for the nation as a whole, so that beyond 4 years, we can still be guided by the infrastructure plan, because, you know, we all accept that we have a huge infrastructure gap. And so I was going to ask you to share that with us. And also, what are your thoughts, what are your sentiments that beyond the 4 years, can this infrastructure plan live the test of time? That's what I was going to.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yes, the Commission actually prepared the Ghana Infrastructure Plan 2017-2018. So effective 2018, the infrastructure plan has been under implementation. This was the time that the long-term development plan was also prepared, 2018 to 2057. So the infrastructure plan was the infrastructure component of the whole development plan that was prepared, and its implementation commenced. So what we launched recently was just to bring the citizens and all our partners, development partners, the private sector, and other financiers, that we have this plan that has been with us. Implementation commenced, but not all the things that we scheduled to implement were being implemented the way we wanted it. And so, to go strictly by that infrastructure plan, we want to ensure that the plans that are being prepared now for implementation, the infrastructure components will stand out, and then the schedule for implementation, the financing arrangements and all that will be analyzed critically, scheduled, spaced, and also sequenced in a manner that we would not default on the critical things that need to be implemented. So these cover the energy issues, we have agriculture, the roads, highways, all infrastructure components come under this. The beauty of it is that we have a government which has also indicated under a big push arrangement to roll out the implementation of all infrastructure that will support our economic development. We do not want the situation where these programs that will be implemented will not be in line with that infrastructure plan. And so we got it launched just to also bring all stakeholders on board. The other beautiful thing is that most of the materials, what we need to really get, for instance, our roads in place, we have the materials available, but they have not been properly aligned and also assembled together. And so the launch gives us the opportunity to focus and ensure that we can get all these programs well implemented. We are working hand in hand with Ministry of Finance, and for that matter, all the MDAs, because for public infrastructure projects, you need to have them scheduled, and then the costing and the implementation also streamlined, so that we do not add onto it what we have started and we have not completed. One critical area is to ensure that the backlog of infrastructure that we have not effectively implemented can be front-loaded, so we deliver on those ones before new ones are also brought on board. So that is the arrangement we have in place.
Then I'm convinced that it moves beyond 4 years, and we'll also make sure we support to make us close the infrastructure gap that we have in the country. Let me go to your financial performance. You are able to at least cover your short-term liability, so that is fine. But I want you to look at your goods and services. I realize that your goods and services far outweigh your compensation. What is your staff strength?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the financials, let me pass on to Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the staff strength, including those on posting and secondment, we are about 54.
Oh, 54?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Because I see a huge goods and services component, but your compensation is, I think, about a little over 1/3 of that. So I was wondering why. But like I said, on the whole, we need to support you to make sure all the plans that you have put in place in the medium-term development framework rolls out as it's supposed to roll out. So you have an ally with this community, with this committee, and we'll be happy to support you any day, anytime you call upon us. So on this note, I'm done with you. Everything's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, are we dismissed?
Yes, SNIT is not here, so you are discharged, and then you come with them when they are coming. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, we ask that they do not stand in our way of completing this report. Looks like we have attended to almost everybody. Everybody is on schedule. So we ask that we will complete this schedule, this particular one, on Friday, and we'll be grateful if they can attend upon us before we end, so that we can submit this report to Parliament in this very sitting.
Honestly, I didn't know SNIT was supposed to be here. So I think it will be helpful. I would want to know if SNIT is the only agency under the Ministry of Finance that is outstanding, that you need to appear before you. If there is the need for any other person to come, please let
Minister,
the Secretariat.
I think GIF is also, initially, last year.
GIF is here.
GIF is here.
Yes.
Then we can have GIF. Last year, SNIT was under Ministry of Employment.
Yes.
So was NPRA. And so the Secretariat placed them under Ministry of Employment. And then on that very day, Ministry of Employment comes to tell us that they are not under them, so they cannot represent them. Then we found out that they were with the Ministry of Finance.
Yes, that is true. But because your report shows them under a different ministry, that is why we also didn't bring them. So it is important that you let us know. That is why I'm asking. But GIF is here, so if you have any questions for them, I think they'll be happy to take it so they don't have to appear again. Thank you, Chairman. And I see that they did not have any infraction, so.
It is their accounts.
All right, Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. Tell us about this interest income.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Our interest income is derived mainly from portfolio and also from some amount of treasury activity. Our portfolio is funded by some international development finance institutions, and it's in hard currency. And so the income that is generated is also in hard currency. When it is translated into our accounts, depending on what the forex situation is, you can get some valuation gains out of it. So part of that increase in our income comes from the forex gains during the period.
But I see over here to net foreign exchange gains. It is here. Is that different from your?
Yes. So, Honorable Chairman, I think part of it is the balance sheet, which is the revaluation of the balance sheet itself, and then on the income line as well. The interests that come on the income line are also paid in hard currency.
Now, what constitutes your other income?
So, Honorable Chairman, the other income is mainly around management fees and commitment fees from the sponsors who come to us for project financing.
Now, I see that your impairment charges went up 121%.
Yes.
Why that?
Honorable Chairman, in the period under review, the auditors took a prudent stand for some of the projects that we had because we had just come out of the COVID sort of area, so there were some delays on some of the projects. And we had a couple of projects in the energy sector as well, and the energy sector was undergoing some restructuring as well, which put some delays on those projects as well. So that's the recommendation from our auditors to impair those ones.
Your financial position, 2022, it was 10.2 to 1, and 2023 is 10.8 to 1. That's pretty good and very impressive out there. You have any questions? Okay, Honorable Kunedu has a follow-up, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. For purposes of clarity, he asked about your other income, and he said that is for commitment fee, consultancy fee, and that. But on the account, again, the statement of comprehensive income, you have fees income. What will constitute that? If the other incomes are those fees that you made mention of, what would be the fees income on the B?
Honorable Chairman, during the period, there were specific special projects that we gave was handling on behalf of government. So the health GIF, which is a sub-fund that was set up to manage the Agenda 1 projects, there were some sort of management fees that came out of that one. And because that is separate from our core GIF, that was put on a separate line. And that's the line that you refer to.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, you are discharged.
Thank you.
With your team.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are grateful.
Minister, respectfully, we are going to look at the performance audits on the procurement and maintenance of medical equipment in teaching hospitals. The health minister is here, but we need technical staff from Ministry of Finance too. So respectfully, if you can let them come and sit to support. Yes. Thank you.
Clerk, have they been sworn in? Okay, if they could get up and take their oath, please.
I swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Honorable Minister, could you introduce yourself and the people with you, if they could also introduce themselves?
So everybody should be ready to introduce themselves. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Grace Ayensu Dankwa, the MP for Esika-Duketan constituency in the Western region, and also the Deputy Minister of Health, representing my Minister for Health today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Abubakar Bawa Abdullahi, CEO of Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. My name is Wilfred Ado, Director, Internal Audit, Ministry of Health.
My name is Elvis Anaba, Director of Finance, Ministry of Health.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. My name is Dr. Pakwesi Bedu, CEO, Confanoche Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon. My name is Kofintia Samwa, Deputy Director, Internal Audit, Confanoche Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Nana Yim Are Abibio, Director of Finance, Confanoche Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Fred Ifayeboa, Director of Administration, Confanoche Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. My name is Hinta Manimbro, Acting CEO, Whole Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Osaibo Edward Bodu, Head of Auditing, Head of Internal Audit, Whole Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Senakwesi-Donko, Director Administration, Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is George Tete, the Director of Administration, Whole Teaching Hospital.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Engineer Samuel Tete, Head of Engineering, Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Okay, Honorable Minister, this is a performance audit of the Auditor General on the procurement and maintenance of medical equipment in teaching hospitals. And we have a few questions here to ask. It says, reason for the audit. The World Health Organization defines medical equipment as an instrument, apparatus, or machine that is used in prevention, diagnosis, or treatment of the illness or disease, or for detecting, measuring, restoring, correcting, or modifying the structure or functions of the body for some health purposes. This medical equipment require calibration, maintenance, repair, user training, decommissioning, and activity usually managed by the clinical engineers. So now let's go to some of the audit functions.
Thank you. The auditors are telling us that the teaching hospitals are supposed to carry out equipment needs assessments before they prepare their procurement plans, because that will be the basis on which they can purchase equipment. But they noted that from the procurement plans, from contract documents, and way bills, the hospitals procured certain equipments, but none were functioning, and there was a need for replacements. They mentioned a couple of the hospitals. There's Kolebu, and there's Kolebu. Specifically, there's Kolebu, and also at the laboratory department, there's Comfort Noche, and at the radiology department, there's Whole Teaching Hospital. And so can you share with us the processes that leads to, one, identifying the equipment that you need, and also when you buy them, operating them in such a way that the objective for which you purchase them are realized? Because the auditors are saying that you bought some of the equipment and some were not functioning, and there was a need for replacement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that the auditor's findings are correct. And we have all our CEOs of our teaching hospitals here. And because some of the questions are hospital specific, because it's not universal for all the hospitals, they will chip in as I take over the ministerial position on the specific issue. Honorable Chair, when it comes to medical equipment, we have two types of medical equipment. We have basic equipment, which is like blood pressure cuffs and maybe less capital intensive equipment. Those equipments can be purchased by the hospital themselves. Then we have another set of equipments that are the high value equipment. These are the big machines, the most expensive ones, which is like the MRI, fluoroscopy, you're looking at CT scans. Even with CT scans, there are different levels. The cutting, some of them is 120 something cut and gives you finer view of the inside of the body. Those equipment are very expensive or capital intensive. And so those equipments are equipments that normally is expected to come from the Ministry of Health. But on the issue of Kolebu, I will let the CEO of the Kolebu take over some of the specific questions, and then I'll come in when it's more universal, where I can cover all the CEOs. Thank you.
Specific issue with Kolebu. Sorry? Yes. Because the specifics.
Well, if you have the document,
I can support them. Kolebu, please, it's about the laboratory equipment.
Kolebu,
So
yes,
can you speak
it's at
on
the
it, please?
radiology department, two MRI machines. At Comfort Noche is the laboratory department. At Whole Teaching Hospital, the radiology department. Yes. The auditors are saying that, one, did you do a needs assessment before buying these equipments? And then two, they realized that even though you have bought certain equipments, these equipments are not functioning.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. As at the time of the audit, the machine had
Please, who
broken
is
down.
this? Kolebu or?
Yes, Kolebu.
Kolebu.
Yes.
Okay.
As at the
Please,
time of.
have you taken the oath?
Yes.
Kolebu?
Yeah.
No, because I think when they were doing it, you were not here. So respectfully,
Yes, Honorable Chair, thank you so much. For Comfort Noche Teaching Hospital, at the time of the audit, it was indicated that we had one blood gas analyzer. We needed to we had 3 CT scans that were not functioning, MRI that was not functioning. But currently, as we speak, the MRI we have is working and also under planned preventive maintenance, and which we are adhering to. Of the 3 CT scans, one is working, the other one is...
Please, can we swear them in quickly and then you continue?
Yes, Honorable.
I, Dr. Emmanuel Lloyd Baffo,
Swear by the Almighty God.
swear by the Almighty God
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
Touching the matter in issue.
touching the matter in issue
Shall be the truth.
shall be the truth,
The whole truth.
the whole truth,
And nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Munir Al Hassan, Director of Administration.
Dr. Emmanuel Lloyd Baffo, Head of Biomedical Engineering Unit.
Cynthia Fremejachi, Acting Director, General Service.
Please, you can continue.
Yeah, thank you. So as I indicated, we have one MRI machine that was installed in 2012. So it's over 13 years and it's working at fault. Working at fault means today is working, tomorrow is down. And that's why I'm sure at the time of the audit, it wasn't working. This is something we've been grappling with. We have 3 CT scan machines. Only one is working currently. We're trying to bring up the second one. And currently we have engineers working on that. Something like cardiac catheterization lab, cath lab, for 70 years that Confanoche has been in existence, we've never had one. And those are, if I get heart attack right now, before I'm referred to UGMC that has a cath lab or the bank hospital, I'll be dead in transit. And I'm using myself as an example. I don't want to die anyway. So these are the real challenges.
How much does this equipment you are talking about cost?
So the cath lab, from our last estimate, and we're working with the ministry to provide it, it ranges between $1.5 million to $2 million US dollars. And this is way above, yes, so definitely it may have to. And most of these equipment, CT scan, MRI, as my honorable minister indicated, are capital intensive to acquire them, and they are above the budget of all the hospitals gathered here. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to contribute to the cath lab. Recently, we had an issue with one of our medical doctors who passed away from a cardiac problem and needed a cardiac catheterization. A cardiac catheterization is a procedure that happens when somebody's having a heart attack. Basically, the vessels around the heart is blocked. So there's a procedure where you can put a stent through and open up the vessel, and that is what we do in a cath lab. After the death of that physician, who is one of our colleagues, it became a national issue, and the issue was brought up to the presidency and also up to the ministry through to the presidency. So currently, we're working on getting at least 2 or maybe maximum 4 cath labs in the country. The equipment for cath labs are not equipment that you just go off the market and buy. Some of them have to be configured for specific projects or specific spaces or specific patients. So we have already contracted companies that are manufacturing these equipment. So hopefully soon, I don't want to put a specific timeline, at least we'll have one properly functioning cardiac catheterization lab in this country, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll have 4 functioning cardiac catheterization labs so we can avoid these preventable deaths when it comes to heart attack and strokes and other medical conditions. Thank you.
So, Madam, so if you say there are plans in place,
were they budgeted for? Are these projects contained in the budget? Do they find expression in the budget? I want to understand that.
Thank you. I believe that the minister we had discussed with the finance ministry, and because it has become an emergency, this is an emergency procedure. So I think that they have found some funds, at least to give us one cardiac catheterization lab in this country that is functional. And thankfully for us also, the Mahama Cares, which is a Ghana Medical Trust Fund, is specifically dealing with this issue because they are dealing with non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases are high blood pressure, diabetes, cancers, people with high cholesterol. So the people with high cholesterol are mainly the ones who end up blocking their arteries where the blood flows. So there's a huge need. 43% of all mortalities in Ghana is from these non-communicable diseases. So the Mahama Care Trust Fund has been put aside specifically for that. The bill has been passed. It has been assented to by the president. We have a fund manager or a CEO of the Mahama Fund. The Mahama Fund, we have a board now that has been sworn in, and they're actually going around the country to specifically do this needs assessment issues that we are discussing. I know for sure they have finished the Western region, and all the teaching hospitals as well as regional hospitals have been assessed for some of these equipment, because mainly these equipment are usually for people with non-communicable diseases. And so the work's in place and we'll purchase them.
They work so that they don't end up providing new needs assessments requirements, because I'm sure they already have their equipment needs. And so please let them let the trust fund work with the already equipment needs assessments in place so that we can quicken things up as it is. So thank you. So we also have whole teaching hospital. DS had to do with radiology and some 2 CT scans, 2 fluoroscopy, and 2 mammography machines. So if they can also speak to that.
Honorable Chairperson, we have 2 CT scan machines that are currently functional, 1 mammogram machine that is fully functional, 1 fluoroscopy machine that is now having an obsolete part which the original equipment manufacturer is not able to produce that part for repairs. We also have 1 MRI machine that was installed in 2013, had some challenges and had demagnetization and has been decommissioned now from 2017. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I heard the Prof. or Doc say that there's 1 machine that they cannot even find the parts. Many a time, we tend to have the very old or obsolete version of equipment in this country, such that sometimes when you take reports from here, using a known, let me choose, say, a mammogram machine. You take reports from here and then they still have doubts because sometimes the equipment are obsolete, like Prof. or Doc said, and you are not able to reconcile. How come we tend to have the machines that are 30, 40 years old that the manufacturers, for lack of a better word, do not want, and they find their place in our country, but yet the prices at which we buy them are almost the same as the new ones?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I completely agree with you. The last retooling that was done in this country was in 2014. So since 2014, there has not been any retooling. In the last 8 years, there has been absolutely no retooling for our hospitals. So it is not surprising to us that we came to meet old equipment that had run out of warranties. We came to meet old equipment that did not even have service agreements, nor did they even have spare parts. So we are
Honorable
not
Minister,
surprised.
Doc said the machines are 30 years old, so it transcends 8 years. So all I want is solutions, because he said it goes beyond 30 years, if I heard him right. Some are 30 years old. That was what you said. Yes, you said...
I think it was Confanochi that shared that information.
yes, and for some of, no, and for even some of them, you don't even have what? The spare parts, meaning they are out of the system. And these equipments don't go out of the system in 8 years, in 10 years. No, it takes quite some time before, at least, if you can't find the parts, meaning they've stopped producing it, they started producing about 30 or so years ago. So that is the issue here. All I'm asking is, why is it so? And then you have assured us already through the Mahama Trust Care Fund that, but this is also a reality, that we tend to have obsolete equipment that goes beyond 8 years, that goes beyond 10 years, that goes beyond 15 years. So that is what I hope that we will address. That moving forward, the new machines that the trust fund is going to buy for us will be current machines, state-of-the-art machines, not machines that are 5, 6 years old already, and so we go and buy them, and in no time, when they are phasing out, it becomes difficult for us to get parts. So that if we are going to spend so much money through that fund, we should get, if we are buying it in 2025, hopefully we should get the 2025, 2024 model that will serve us for another 10, 15, 20 years before, when anything goes wrong, we don't seem to find the parts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's precisely what I was trying to tell you, because the last retooling was in 2014. So 2014 to 2025, that is precisely the equipment they are talking about. The equipment that we are using today, equipment we procured in 2014. So before we get to where we're going, we have to know where we are today. And that where we are today is that needs assessment. We have done the needs assessment. Individual hospitals, teaching hospitals have done it. The government through Mahama Cares have done it. And we are combining the two needs assessments. Thankfully, we have decided actually as a country now to maybe the high value equipment to do a central procurement. Because once we do central procurement, I think we can also do proper standardization. We can use economics of scale. We can use pooled resources to get the equipment, the best equipment at good prices, and also to get it with good maintenance or warranties or extended warranties, and even maybe negotiate better to find companies that have in-country reps that would also be available to maintain these equipment. So we are completely on course, and soon all the retooling will take place, and most of these hospitals will get the modern 2025 versions of the equipments they need so that our people will have good health in Ghana. Thank you.
Minister, there was also a query raised in respect of the fact that Korle Bu had a radiography machine, but they did not have the skilled person to use it, a radiographer. And so the machine was there, but it wasn't being used. Korle Bu, can you, well, that's according to the auditors.
No, the human resource, that's the radiographers. We, just like the nurses and doctors, they are also, they are, as we speak, they are on their way out. However, we were able to employ some, and that situation has resolved.
Now, at least you are utilizing
Yes,
the equipment.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Minister, the big thing that I find from this report is the capacity to maintain medical equipment. And part of the report says training of biomedical engineers. Biomedical engineering units do not have the required expertise to repair and constantly maintain the medical equipment in the hospitals. Though the hospital strategic plans had outlined training for their biomedical engineers, these plans were only on paper and were not implemented to build the capacity of the engineers to handle the equipment. The hospitals resorted to the use of third-party vendors in lieu of the use of the biomedical engineers who were constantly on payrolls. What is the situation of the biomedical engineers now?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you talk about biomedical engineering, I think the larger question is our lack of maintenance culture. So biomedical engineering will fall under that. But before we get to the biomedical engineers, we need to purchase equipment that do have service agreements. We need to purchase equipment that have warranties, if not just the 1-year warranty, even maybe extended warranties, because it is out of that we can even get proper maintenance of these equipment. Yes, we need biomedical engineering, but Mr. Chair, even with the biomedical engineering, let me give you a scenario. Let's take, for instance, that you've gone to buy a Boeing 747 aircraft. Brand new Boeing 747 2025 brand. You have a biomedical engineer who can maintain your plane, but you know that Boeing will not give you all the secrets to how to maintain the equipment all the way. Boeing will only train you to a certain extent. And at some point, you need Boeing engineer to come from where Boeing is done to come and maintain that aircraft, because they won't give you, it is called trade secrets. They won't give you all your trade secrets. So as much as we are training biomedical engineers in Ghana, we still don't have the full extent for them to do everything about each of the machines. So regardless of how many biomedical engineers we train, which we continue to train, we continue to have in-service, we continue to even send some of them outside the country for special training, we still need to make sure that the purchaser of those equipment is purchasing from the right place, has gotten the proper warranty, if not extended warranty, and also built into the contract that the company should have in-country servicing, so that once the biomedical engineer reaches a space where they can't go any further, then the company comes in and helps us with these machines. Lack of maintenance culture is one of our biggest problems in healthcare. We have inherited a very bad maintenance culture. For us to move forward and to fix that problem, even if we buy new equipment into the system, if we don't fix these systemic problems, which we continue to look at and we continue to fix, my minister is very, very passionate about this topic, and I am too. We need to get to a place where once our biomedical engineers are stuck, that there is a additional or supplemental work that can be done. And that comes from the initial procurement and the initial agreement to procure. And that is where some of the issues, inherent issues are. And we are hoping to remove those obstacles along the way as we make new procurement agreements. Thank you.
But, Madam, when it comes to Ho Teaching Hospital, for example, between 2018 and 2023, 80 to 90% of the maintenance was outsourced to a third party. And we are talking about, spending 137,000, 203,000, 754,000, 574,000, 776, even 1.8 million over the period on third-party vendors for the maintenance of medical equipment. Now, these vendors, are they these maintenance people? Are they from outside the country or from Ghana?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the system we have inherited, if you can indulge me to explain to you a little bit further. So the ministry will procure the equipment and take it to, for instance, Ho Teaching Hospital. That's all the ministry will do. So the hospital now is required to find a vendor that will maintain that equipment, and it's individualized. So Ho will do its own vendor agreement, Konfanochi will do its own vendor agreement. Kolebu will do its separate vendor agreement with individual vendors. And these vendors technically, for instance, again, Boeing 747, I bought it. It's in Ghana. The Boeing company usually has an agreement with another local company to service their equipment. Those are the vendors that the hospitals will have to go through and also sign agreements with them. What is currently happening is that each hospital is doing its own agreement. The agreements are not the same. It is different even though the equipment may be the same. Sometimes the equipment are not being the same. And that is why we have flagged as a ministry, and now we are looking at procuring from Central, which is the ministry, making sure our agreements are done properly, making sure that they have the warranties, extended warranties, and also that the companies itself will help us with maintenance so that even if we are having agreements with third-party vendors, those third-party vendors are universal throughout the system. That will build into the system proper standardization. And we can also monitor to make sure that the work that they are doing is done with best practices. Thank you.
Okay, Madam, I think the concern is the number of biomedical engineers that we have in this country, and whether or not they have the conditions to be working in hospitals. I mean, we have KNUST, they continue to produce a lot of biomedical engineers. Myself, I studied lab technology, and I should be working on labs and working in the labs and all of that. But there's a challenge. And the challenge is that we have not built a culture that is able to contain these engineers. For instance, my kid brother works for Philips. He's a biomedical engineer. And what happens in the industry practice now is that they lease the equipment to the hospitals. So these equipments are leased by these giant companies, Siemens, Philips, and all of that. Then they have their engineers who on a daily basis move from hospital to hospital and ensure that the machines are maintained. So yes, we can spend a lot of money, $2 million, $3 million, go and purchase these things. And because of the thing that you said about trade secrets and all of that, these companies are unwilling to deliver to you. Why is the government of Ghana not considering leasing these machines from these giant firms so that they can come and establish their repairs or maintenance units here, and on a daily basis, so that when the machine breaks down, they are not making money. If the machine is working, they are making their money. And so they will ensure that at all times, the machines are working. They are replacing parts and making sure that the machines do not become obsolete in our country. I think it's a better solution to go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are agreeing with you 100%. That is precisely one of the issues on our table, which is to come with a PPP agreement. Maybe the equipment can even be loaned to the hospital. Maybe they can have some sort of a PPP agreement between the hospital, the ministry, and the hospital, so that, as you said, exactly the way you said it, that the companies themselves will bring the machines, they will maintain the machines themselves, and maybe the hospital can get a portion of it. But again, it's all about negotiation and how well we negotiate our position to make sure that our equipment are well calibrated, because the calibration is also very important. So that if I stand on a scale in Kolebu and it says I'm 40 kilos, and I go to Konfanochi and I stand on the same scale, they will also say that I'm 40 kilos. And if I go to Ho, it's 40 kilos. So that what Madam Chair said about taking a mammogram from Ghana results to another country and it's not believable, we can also build into that system the proper calibrations of the equipment. So we are agreeing with you, and we are really looking into some of those agreements and see how best they will fit.
Madam, let me also bring to our attention one of the fundamental issues in the industry as we speak. And that is that the people that we employ to work on these machines, the biomedical lab persons, the lab technology persons, the all of, no, not even the engineers, but the personnel themselves to be administering this on the patients. They have a challenge. And the challenge is that they do not even have a proper way of being recruited into the Ghana Health Service. And I say this because a lot of my mates keep on, bringing this to my attention that we need to raise this issue at the national stage. I think today is a perfect, just like we handle medical doctors and how we recruit them and attach that importance to them, just like we do for nurses. We need that level of attention for biomedical personnel who work in the hospitals. Usually, we have a lot of them, they are home because they don't know how to have the process of getting into the system. It's a difficult thing to do. So what can the ministry say about this? So that, our colleagues who sit at home can get employed and also add to what the doctors and nurses are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this issue of biomedical engineering, I think it's one of, for me, what I have noticed is one of our biggest problems in the health industry. Like you said, there's a lot of people at home. I've personally met with a lot of them. Most of they have the labor unions for biomedical engineering. There's 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Some of them are complaining that even when they are being put in the hospital to go and work as residency type programs, they are not allowing them to do it. Some of them are sitting at home 5, 6 years after they have graduated. There's the lab biomedical engineers, and then there's the university biomedical engineers. And it looks like there's some sort of a turf wars going on among the biomedical engineering group. So the ministry has engaged them. We are trying to figure out what the specific issues are and why some people have finished school and are home and are not part of a certain group, and this group is different from that group. So we are trying to find some sort of harmonization so that we can harmonize all of them, because I truly believe that no country can develop when they have biomedical engineers, or no health system can develop when your biomedical engineers are sitting at home. It is really one of the areas that I'm passionate about, and I've been engaging them since I got into the ministry. My minister is also passionate about it, and so he has tasked me to really go around and figure out what the exact problem is, so that the situation that you're talking about will be avoided. We can bring them into the system, and then they can help us with calibrating some of these machines or servicing the machines. But there's also the issue of spare parts. You know, most of these equipment are not manufactured here, not even in Africa. Most of them are from Europe or America. And so the spare parts are also very expensive. So one machine, like an MRI, which is that expensive, could break down because of one small part. And even the smaller the part, the more expensive it is. The small part that break up a whole MRI machine is more expensive. So we're even looking into things like mobile MRI. You know, elsewhere, they have equipments that are so expensive that they put them on like a mobile van. So the MRI will be, for instance, in one MRI in Accra. It will be in Kolebu on Mondays and Tuesdays. Then it will go to Ridge Hospital on Thursdays, because these equipments are not equipment you use every day. So it might not necessarily mean that every hospital should have an MRI machine. So we are really seriously looking into all these issues, and hopefully by next year we will have a solid plan in place. Mahama Cares would have also finished its full Mahama Cares would have finished its needs assessment, and then between Mahama Cares and then the free primary health care program is also coming up. So between these 2 government flagship programs and the hospital needs assessment, we'll combine them and retool the hospitals as well. But there's also one thing that we need to talk about, the biomedical engineers.
Madam, I'm sorry. We have a few more questions for you.
Yes, but let me, if you can indulge me, please, about biomedical engineering. it's part of the NDC manifesto for 2025 to really build a biomedical engineering school. Because sometimes what they lack is the skills lab. So the schools will teach them, but where they do the practicals and the skills lab is a little bit lacking. So we have included that in the manifesto, and I believe I spoke to the Ministry of Education, and he said he was either going to do that in Ho or UHAS, but I'm not sure where he said, so don't quote me on it. But we are really working on it. Thank you.
Madam, you have complicated matters, but you will allow you. Just for you to know that this is a committee of parliament, and everything you have said here is on records. I love the Mahama Care song that you are singing, and next year we'll play it back to you. Thank you very much.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, at the heart of this report and this discussion are two things: procurement and maintenance of these high-value equipment for the hospitals. I look at page 8 of the report, Greater Bullet 2.5, that talks about the funding for the maintenance of these machines, and that is very critical. There is a table on page 9 that states the budget that you do for the maintenance of these equipment and the releases that you get for it, and that these maintenance ought to be funded through two sources of financing, GOG and IGF. Apart from WHO and say Konfanoti Teaching Hospital, Kolebu and Tamale Teaching Hospital had none. It is only WHO that had excesses of releases, if I'm right, looking at the table. 500,000 they had it, 400,000 they had a release of, 600 they had, and even 1.8. For the last one of 2023, they had all the release for 1.8 million, but they only spent 446,000. That is just an outlier. But my question properly is this: if you procure all of these machines and looking at the payment structure that we have for services that are provided by these high-end machines in public hospitals, which cannot accommodate the actual funding for it, how do you expect that these hospitals, even having the greatest of biomedical engineers, be able to maintain these equipment and not come back here on the table talking about maintenance and procurement? Because that is very critical. If they are not able to recover the cost of services that they provide with these high-end machines, how do we expect them to maintain it? Looking at Kolebu had 0, Konfanoche had 0, and Tamale, that one, they actually do not even have a budget for them to have a release on it. That is per the book that I have in front of me. So how do you do that? And if one of the CEOs here probably will share how they probably would be able to help in this direction before even the minister also gets in, because the releases are scary. You can purchase it for them, but how do they maintain them with 0 releases for that? And them also not being able to charge the right prices because the people that go there, we that go there, cannot afford the actual prices. How are you going to help?
Honorable Chair, thank you. As my MP rightly indicated, it's about realistic charges. If you come to Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, we will have the same equipment as a private person. But because probably from the prices approved by Parliament, we are to take X amount. We can't go beyond that X amount. Our competitor, who is just across the street, is taking 3 times the X. So they are able to recover what they spend by weekends. And that is the issue. We have hospitals that are quasi-governments, and I won't mention names. They will go there, they'll tell you, this is the cost of the service. But because you cannot afford it, they have all the expertise. Go to Kolebu or go to Konfanoche, knowing very well, when you come to us, we can't say you can't pay for the services. Since we are public institutions, we are bound to take it. So one appeal we will also make, I'm sure, to, I don't know which of the subcommittees of Parliament, those fixing the prices. Sometimes if we can also be heard, so that each of these services will give you the realistic prices. Because if MRI is costing 3,000, 4,000, but then we are hamstring into taking 1,000 cedis. Even before we use the service, we are in the negative, 3,000, 4,000 in the negative.
Currently, the Fees and Charges Act that will allow you to amend these prices have been brought to Parliament, so you can work with your minister. But I remember very well that usually with these fees and charges, you meet all the teaching hospitals and then they make a case. Once they make a case, you compile it, it is sent to Cabinet. If Cabinet agrees with it, they approve of it and they bring it back to the ministry for the ministry to submit it to Parliament through the subsidiary legislation. Currently, I know there is, and they've brought, the minister said they are bringing or they have brought, I'm not too sure, but I know there is a new fees and charges bill in the offing. So if you can work with them, it is not, even if they have submitted it to Parliament, it is not too late to make certain amendments. And so if it's justified, but I believe that what the public hospitals should be looking at is monies to be able to maintain them, not to charge at the same rate as the private hospitals, because for the private hospitals, they purchase it themselves. But for us, government gives it to us. And so the most important thing for us to do is to make sure we charge monies that are commensurate with the proper maintenance, so that when it goes bad or there's a fault, you will be in a position to maintain it. That is what we should look at. That is how we should look at it. And that is why it is called a public hospital and not a private hospital. So we should also take that into consideration.
Honorable Chair, advice were well taken. Thank you.
Madam, just to let you know, I just had a text message about your analogy about 747. And it says very few people ever buy airplanes. The airlines will not, the air manufacturer will not sell you a personal plane. They all lease it. So, and then they will give you the guidelines. If the engine has a problem, this is the person who will repair it. So I just wanted to correct that. Nobody buys an airplane now. They lease it.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm guided, but it was just an example I was using just to clarify some of these issues. Thank you.
Go have answer your ask.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, on paragraph 109, I see a worrying trend here. The trend is with regard to the damage of the machines in the various health facilities. And anytime there's a breakdown of the machine, it goes with loss of revenue. So to take you back, in 2022, the CT scan machine at Tamale Teaching Hospital was down for 59 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 444,000. The X-ray machine was down for 21 days, leading to loss of revenue of 33,000. At Kolebu Teaching Hospital, in 2022, the CT scan machine was down for 243 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 1 million plus Ghana cedis. The MRI was down for 150 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 600,000 plus. Also in 2023, the mammography machine was down for 168 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 73,000 plus Ghana cedis. The MRI machine was down for 240 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 96,000, almost 1,961,000, almost 1 million Ghana cedi. The CT scan was also down for 365 days, resulting in loss of revenue of 1,565,736.85. Cumulatively, let's sum this and look at the money this country is losing. I see a financial loss here. So who is to be held responsible? Which government?
Please, you can answer. He has a question, so you can answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable member, it is basically the same issues we are discussing. It has to do with the rot that we have inherited. And as we have discussed at this committee the last time I was here, governance is a continuum. We have noticed the rot and we are working on it. Again, it has to do with spare parts. Sometimes it is spare parts. The spare parts are not manufactured in Ghana. Sometimes it has to do with maintenance. The equipment, people who manufacture the equipment, most of them are not located in Ghana. It has to do with our biomedical engineering. We need to train more biomedical engineers. We need to purchase the equipment as a pool. We also, at the time of purchase, we can also negotiate for ourselves better maintenance agreements. When it gets to the hospital level, the hospitals don't have to have individual vendor agreements. There has to be some sort of a standardization where we are all pulling from the same vendors who now have a schedule plan to, for instance, say every month you go through the Western region and do all the equipment maintenance in the Western region. In June, July, August, you go here, so that we can have scheduled maintenance whilst the biomedical engineer is doing the equipment on the ground. The vendors that we have all agreed with, that we have also checked to make sure that they are proper vendors and they can find the spare parts from the manufacturer. Then we have the vendors also do the work. But I think this maintenance problem is a problem that has been flagged for a long time, and we have not really addressed it as we should. It starts with the procurement. It starts with who we are buying it from. It starts with who is signing the procurement agreement. It's starting with who is bringing the equipment. It's starting with what agreement the procurer did with the manufacturer. If we can fix all those problems and look at it as a global problem rather than individual hospital problems, we can set up systems that will really help us in our health system. It's a really bad situation, and we are agreeing with the findings of the audit report. And so the question is, what is the way forward? And we are trying to find sustainable solutions for the way forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam, since I'm likely to be the last person to speak on this issue, I want us, all of us, to go home with some statements made in the audit report, and I'm going to read part of it. It talks about the inadequacy of medical equipment, which led to over-reliance on available ones, which caused frequent breakdown and caused delays in service delivery, reducing the lifespan of the equipment. So, with this statement in the audit report, as a country, what are we doing about it? Food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I think that we are talking about the same thing and we are reiterating the same things over and over again. The issue is that the last time we retooled our hospital was in 2014. That is 11 years ago. 2014 was the last retooling. In the last 8 years, there has been zero retooling of the hospitals. So you expect that, you won't be surprised to expect that some of the machines are broken down. You won't be surprised to expect that we don't have spare parts. You won't be surprised to see that because of these breakdowns, we are now resorting to using perhaps, as you mentioned, inferior machines or machines that don't get the job done. It is because we have not retooled in the last 11 years. The current government solution to the problem.
I understand your point. what I sought to do was to just read a statement for all of us. So when we are going to our various homes, we'll be thinking about it and find a solution to the existing problem. So I'm not saying you should respond. I just want everybody to go home with that statement. All of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your point has been well taken, but we agree. Thank you.
Madam, thank you very much. You and your team, you are discharged.
Chair,
but
we
I
are
just want
grateful.
to remind you, the other day, Ministry of Health came here and you represented the minister. I asked about the PET scan, and you told us that you're looking at that. This is just a reminder to you that we pray and hope that this PET scan will certainly arrive in this country and help give us right diagnosis for ailments that needs to be looked at through that machine. So this is just a reminder to you that
Thank you,
we are
Madam
praying
Chair.
and hoping and waiting for that.
Yes, we will get you a PET scan.
Madam,
thank you.
The last time that Confanoche Hospital was here, we cited them for $3 million. There was a $3 million on end salary. They said we should give them 30 days for them to respond. They haven't collected a penny. They haven't responded. So as such, we add, and if you have something, let me hear from you.
Honorable Chair, thank you so much. In fact, we took a cue from the committee, and we working at the retrieval. One of such persons in the report was David Bonstra, who had scholarship from 2017. Yes, so from here I called him, and he started paying. He's in Germany, and indeed, I spoke to him that if possible, we will involve the ministry by writing to the embassy. So we are taking steps to address most of these, Honorable.
Of the 3 million Ghana cedis, how much has been recovered?
Honorable Chair, I don't have the figures right here, but we're working on it. And indeed, taking a cue from here, we received a letter from the Office of the Special Prosecutor asking for all these details. And tomorrow is the deadline for us to provide it. So we are working with them at the retrievals.
Let me ask the question again.
Yes.
You said we should give you 30 days. How much have you collected within the 30 days? Because look, to make it easier on me, I just refer it to the Attorney General. It makes it easier on me. Because we are not playing games over here, sir. This committee has the powers of a high court. You come and sit in court, you tell us 30 days, we'll make some recoveries. 30 days is past and gone. You haven't said anything to the committee. You haven't written anything to the committee. You don't have any proof that you've collected even one peso. What are we wasting our time with? Since you're already going to the special prosecutor on this, we've already added this to the Attorney General to work on it. And maybe when you go to court, by that time, you would have found you have recovered some of the money. So thank you very much, Madam. We are done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are grateful.
You are discharged.
Today, we mentioned that we were going to look at the performance audit of the Auditor General on the provision of maintenance of toilet facilities in our public schools. Ministry of Education did not come. Meanwhile, can we have some silence? Respectfully, we are not done with our proceedings. We mentioned yesterday that we were going to look at the audit performance, audit reports on the provision and maintenance of toilet facilities in public schools. We wrote to Ministry of Education and Ministry of Local Governments. Ministry of Local Governments, we are told, is here, but Ministry of Education is not here. And because of that, we can't take it. The auditors for these This particular audit, we're also here to speak to it, but Ministry of Education did not attend upon us, and we haven't heard from them. So on this note, we'll have to close today's sitting and liaise with the Ministry of Education for a scheduled time between Wednesday and Friday to attend upon the committee so that we can complete this report. So today we'll bring our sitting to a close, and I would like to thank every one of us here. You have made this possible, and for that we are grateful. The Public Accounts Committee will continue to carry out its mandate as is expected of us, and we hope that by this work that we are doing, we all will contribute to making the public financial management space the efficient one that we all want to see. Thank you.
Of power, adding to your options, knowing that quality and standard remains intact, and our content, which is accepted as truth and accuracy every day, is accessible on the go. Access your favorite daily graphic and our weeklies, The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic, and Graphic Sports on Graphic News Plus app. It's the digital replicas of our work. Download Graphic News Plus app on the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and available on www.graphicnewsplus.com as you remain abreast of and keep pace with on-the-minute news updates on the go. Home sweet home. Welcome family and friends. Choose the bundle that best works for you from as low as 10 for unlimited access to all publications.